Hey, welcome to Monday Mindfulness. We're talking in our fifth segment about restorative sleep in relation to some of those modern habits that we have in our society, some of the stimulating things such as caffeine and alcohol, and how it's related to our cardiovascular health. More and more evidence is showing that when we don't get a sufficient amount of restorative sleep, it really is connected with cardiovascular disease um, because deep sleep, restorative sleep, lowers blood pressure. It helps us to lower our cholesterol rate. And the converse is that lack of restorative sleep really is linked with worse cardiovascular health, stroke, heart attack, just overall mental and emotional well-being is compromised as well. Now, when we talk about these things, we want to recognize we live in a modern society, and so um, we don't want to shame ourselves or shame anybody, but recognize that when we learn certain things that are detrimental to our health, it's very empowering to make changes that can improve what we're doing. So we want to align our internal and our external rhythms. We want to design a life where we feel our best and we're living up to our full potential. And we have that energy and we're aligned with our values that we can honor our bodies and what we're doing as much as we can. So when we do that, we reduce our cardiovascular risks and we make those choices. We design a life that's really aligned with our values and serves us well. We can build better versions of ourselves. So that's the reason for these tips and this segments that we're doing on sleep is to really, address that misalignment with our modern society and how we're living. And we want to get closer to our natural biological rhythms. So let's start out a little bit about caffeine. It's a stimulant. When we talk about caffeine, we're talking about coffee, monster drinks. It could even be dark chocolate late at night, things like this. We want to be aware of what it's doing in our system. So as a psychoactive stimulant, we want to understand the timing is important and the duration. We don't have to cut out coffee. Coffee has many beneficial aspects to it, but the timing is important to understand. So the half-life is 5 to 6 hours, which means that 50% of the stimulant, this caffeine, is circulating in our systems 5 to 6 hours after intake. The liver metabolizes agents like caffeine at a slower rate as we age. So as we get older, we want to recognize that we're going to be more sensitive to being able to clear that out of our system. So the quarter life, just to put this in perspective, the quarter life of caffeine is 10 to 12 hours. So for example, if I drink a cup of coffee at 2 p.m., that means that at midnight I have that one cup at midnight, I have like a fourth of a cup circulating in my system. And that is going to be a sleep disruptor. It's still in the body and it's affecting that brain activity. Remember, the suprachiasmatic nucleus sends a signal to the pineal gland to release melatonin, and that helps with our sleep. And then we talked a little bit too about the pressure that builds with adenosine. So caffeine is going to disrupt a lot of that if we have it still circulating in our body. And it's going to result in poor sleep quality, the amount of that deep restorative sleep that we're getting. So you may notice that after you wake up, you feel groggy, and then instead of going and grabbing a couple of big glasses of water to wake up your system, you're going right for that coffee. And it's a vicious cycle. It's really, you don't feel as refreshed, and you're feeling that you need to feel that you need to kick off the day with even more coffee. As the day progresses, you're drinking more. And you may say, well, I never feel refreshed waking up that way. Personally, as I have made incremental tweaks and changes in how I sleep and what I put in my body, and when I stop or cut off certain things like caffeine, alcohol, not eating a big supper late at night, it really makes a difference. So these things are, again, not to make you feel bad about what you're doing, but just to be mindful and think about tweaks you can make. Experiment with things. I felt so much more energetic as I have been aging when I make some of these changes in life. So I want to share that with you. So again, the cardiovascular benefits of getting deep sleep, and getting that deep sleep is affected by when we cut off our caffeine intake. So be mindful of that. Avoid the vicious cycle. Um, be brutally honest with yourself. Keep a log of how you feel in the morning after you've made a certain tweak. Be protective of your sleep because it affects so many things. Emotional well-being too. Really is a pillar of our health. So I want to talk a little bit now about alcohol, the frequent nightcap. It's very misunderstood. It's often touted as a sleep aid, yet it's not really, it's not beneficial at all for helping our sleep. And it can be a depressing statement for many, but alcohol really is a sedative, but we need to understand that sedation is not sleep. You could be falling asleep more quickly as you drift off into that light sedation, but you're not going into a natural sleep state. And many studies have shown that the brain has different patterns of electrical activity when we have that alcohol in our system, and it's a sleep disruptor. And a second problem is that alcohol will actually disrupt your sleep in causing you to wake up more times throughout the night. It's called fragmented sleep. And the thing about it is you're not really even aware of that happening. So you wake up not feeling refreshed, but you don't remember that you had that fragmented sleep, that you didn't get that deep restorative sleep. So actually alcohol can affect signals in the brain, disrupting our sleep. And we want to be aware of that too. So we're going to tie this all together, make a little more connections as we go on. But those are some things that we want to be aware of, is honoring our biological system and limiting those stimulants such as caffeine, chocolate, other things, caffeine-containing drinks. Cut them off at a certain point in the day and see how you feel. If your sleep's more restorative. If you feel you have to have alcohol, how about having it at lunch, instead of that nightcap, and see how it affects your sleep quality. Okay, thank you. We'll continue this next Monday. We're going to talk a little bit more about teenagers and the amount of sleep that they need. I have one, and it's been very enlightening, understanding a little bit more about the sleep cycle of our teenagers and how that they really do need more than adults. All right, thanks, and have a great day.